Hello and welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be continuing our Bible study on the book of Genesis chapter 1, and we're going to be focusing on verses 11 to 12. And first of all, in today's video, I'm just going to go ahead and read verses 11 to 12 of Genesis chapter 1, and then we're going to talk about the principles of life that we can get from there that will help us to thrive and excel in various areas of our lives. And I'm encouraging you to stick to the end of this video. Who knows, maybe the principle we're going to talk about today might be the one you've been waiting for all your life to figure out that particular pressing challenge in your life that seems to have no answer. And so I'm just going to read from the book of Genesis, as I said, chapter 1, from verse 11 to 12. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth." And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. So, what are the principles we can get from here? So, first of all, when we talk about herbs or grass, we're talking about the smaller leafy vegetables and vegetation like the weeds you see in your garden and all that. These ones are propagated by seeds. They don't have fruit. They just have their tiny seeds. But then when we talk about trees, we talk about apple trees, mango trees, and these ones bear fruit. But then you have to open up the fruit to be able to access the seed. What this whole place is talking about is that God, the principle number one is that God has set things to be that things are propagated by seed. Plants are propagated by seeds. Even animals are kind of multiplied by seed. Human beings are multiplied by seed. And so, seed, the law of seed is a very important principle of life. So, what are some things we can get when we think about the law of seeds? Seeds are tiny, they are smaller than the parent plant themselves. So, for example, you think about, let's say, the seed of a tomato. It is super tiny, but then when you bring out your tomato, depending on the type of tomato, whether it's beefsteak or cherry tomatoes, but whatever be the case, the seed is generally smaller than the fruit itself or the plant itself. So, but they carry the genetic code of the parent plant. And you don't, so what this means for us is that every single thing you want to accomplish in life, there's a seed that you need to plant. There are seeds you need to plant to be able to accomplish them. So, for example, let's say you want to become wealthy, or you want to build your finances and be, financially stable. You have to start with a seed of making sure that you have a source of income, right? A regular source of income. But then you have to make sure you put aside a seed, which is a portion of your income regularly. You keep putting it aside, keep putting it aside, and over time you can talk about investing. And over time, you started from a tiny seed, but that is how everybody out there starts. Nobody becomes wealthy just by wishing or just by making all the money and spending it all without budgeting. So that's an example. Another example is, let's say I want to lose some weight and be healthy and live longer and avoid some unnecessary sicknesses and diseases that are caused by maybe unhealthy eating and being sedentary. Then what are the seeds I need to plant? I need to talk about, what am I putting in my body? Is it a fuel or is it toxic over time? And then secondly, I'm talking about, okay, if I want to be healthy and active, I need to exercise. So if I invest into doing that every single day consistently, no matter how small, and planting those seeds, then it's just a matter of time. Those things are going to manifest. I'll see myself healthier, having a trimmer body and, being active. You see some people, they are 60, they are 70. You ask them, what is the secret? Oh, I eat healthy as much as possible. And then I try to keep active every single day. I go for walks. Those are seeds. So look at anything in life that you want to achieve. There is a seed of actions that you need to take. That's number one. Another principle we can see from here as it relates to seed is that time was created before seed. You see that God said, I think it was in verse 3 and 4, he talked about God created day and night. And then there was first day, there was second day. So why is it that time was created before seed? Thinking about it, you realize that if God created seed before time, Immediately you put your seed in the ground, it will just pop up, and then you have your mango tree. Voila, there it is. Wow, that's my apple tree. But it doesn't work like that. God created time first before seed. What that means for us is you may be making the right choices every day, but if you don't give yourself enough time for those choices to mature or to bring forth the fruit you are looking forward to, you might end up becoming frustrated. Time is slower than many of us are comfortable with. But you have to understand that time comes before seed. So as you are planting your seed, let's say I want to shed weight, as I gave as the example, as you're planting that seed of making the right choices every day, to eat healthy, to exercise, to do push up, be sure that you're not eating more than the portion you're supposed to eat. You're doing it every day. You can't just do it for 1 week and say now it's not working and you give up. And that's what many of us do. Some of us, okay, you may be making the right choices, or maybe you're trusting God for someone that is the right person for you, and you are keeping yourself pure, you are pursuing your life, living your dreams, and then you're like, Lord, I've been waiting, I've been praying, and it's not working. You don't just give up like that. Just understand that seeds mature at different times. I love gardening, and from my own experience, there are some seeds I plant, and 2 or 3 days later they're already sprouting. I'm like, whoa. But then some seeds, you plant them, they take 2 weeks to germinate, and some of them take maybe up to 5 weeks. Some of them, I've even planted something before and it took 4 months to germinate. I almost gave up, but I said, let me keep watering this thing. Maybe it's dormant. And after about 4 months, it just sprouted. And then the reality is, after sprouting, you don't just say, now my apple seedling has sprouted, now it's time to pluck apple. You still have to wait. But if you're talking about leafy vegetables, maybe in the space of 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you can already start plucking your lettuce and all the rest of them. So that's another thing you need to understand. Even if you're making the right choices in your life, even if you're planting the right seeds, you need to be patient. Learn how to be patient. Don't give up. If you give up, if I decide, oh, I already kept watering this plant for 4 months and now it germinated and there's no apple, and I give up and I'm not watering it anymore. Yes, the apple would have taken probably 3, 4, 5 years to give me apple, but if I don't water it, then it's just going to die away, and there's no opportunity for me to get an apple from there. So that's it. Another principle that we can see from this same place is God is the one that instituted the system of seed sowing. I mean, of multiplying things from seed. Now imagine that anytime somebody has to be created, God will go and start, take sand and mold a human being and then breathe into it. And then they say, oh, we are praying to God to have a baby. And then God is, going to and fro, all over the earth. It doesn't make sense. Or maybe whenever you want to garden, or you want to plant something in your garden, you say, oh, I wish I could have an apple tree here. And then God will come down from heaven and say, let there be an apple tree. Let it go. No, it doesn't make sense. So in the same way, many of us, what this shows me is that we need to come to a place where we learn how to put systems in place, or inculcate habits that kind of make things almost automatic for us. For example, many of, like, for me, at a point when I was still taking care of my babies, I would get so carried away, I would even brush my teeth before going to bed, and it was not serving me right. A time came when I said, no, I can't just take care of my kids and I'm not taking care of myself. I told myself, every morning you wake up, you're going to brush. In the night, you're going to brush. Initially, it was a struggle. Sometimes I'm so done, so tired after taking care of 3 babies under age 6. I'm just like, I want to go to bed, I want to go hug that bed. But I told myself, you know what, even if you need to lean on the sink and brush. And now today it's automatic for me. And that's just a very basic example. There's so many things that we do in life. You want to lose weight, and then you go and buy maybe all manner of things, junk food, and put in your cabinet. It's not going to help you. That's not a system, or a habit that is going to help you. So I want you to begin to think about your life. What are some things you want to accomplish? You know the seeds you need to plant. You are willing to allow the passage of time. But what systems or habits can you put in place that will help you to accomplish these visions or your desire? So, for example, let's say you want to become wealthy, or maybe let's say you want to become more productive. Have you ever thought about using to-do lists to help you to always put the most important thoughts at the top of your mind? If you want to become wealthy, have you ever thought of budgeting your income wisely? And if you want to live healthier, you want to, have you talked about kind of incorporating personal hygiene and exercise and healthy eating into your daily life? If you want to become closer to God, have you thought about setting apart a fixed time for Bible study and prayer? And let's say you want to also learn and improve yourself, you want to engage in self-development. Have you thought about putting aside time or scheduling a time or saying to yourself, I'm going to read 2 chapters of a book or 2 pages of a book every single day? So think about what are some things you can put in place, some systems, some habits that you can put in place so that over time they become automated and they make it easier for you to make your seeds that you have planted, the right choices you're making, easier for you to continue to follow through on a daily basis over time until they manifest. And so that's about it for today. So I hope you were able to get something from today's discussion. As I always say, the Bible is full of amazing principles that can change your life. It's not just a mystery, it's amazing and it is real. I hope you can take something from these things that we've talked about today and implement, even if it's only one of them in your life. You're going to see massive change in your life. And then finally, a call to action for you. I want you to go right back to the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 11 to 12 that we read today, and go through it for yourself. You can use any Bible version that makes it easier for you and see, is there any new inspiration that God will give you? Because I tell you, if you come to me tomorrow morning and ask, what is the new thing that God is showing you from here? There's always something new from the Word of God. So, looking forward to hearing from you in the comment section if you have any new inspiration or whatever it is that you plan to do with what you've heard today. That would be so amazing. So thank you for your time, and I'll see you in my next video. All the best. Bye.